snow is starting to melt and spring is upon us. So getting some of our initial bed prep going here in the greenhouse, and Mark is prepping up these 6 beds that will be transplanted to Salanova that we have in our nursery pretty soon, probably this week. So he's forking the beds loose right now and then running the tilther, and we'll put a little bit of our fertilizer, our turkey manure, in there as well. And we've still got a lot of compost in these beds from when we cover them with compost in the fall, so there's no real need to put compost on them right now. We also don't have any compost right now. We can't get any delivered at the moment. So lettuce is a low feeder, so doesn't really need to worry about having too much fertilizer in the soil, though the turkey manure will definitely be enough for a crop like lettuce.
At any rate, it's got to dry out and thaw out, so.
Yeah. That's good. Mark has put a sort of a DIY poly low tunnel on the compost to help it thaw out quicker so that we can use it faster, because we're in sort of a compost crisis again. We have way too much stuff. Most of it is just microgreen flats. People always ask. I can't seem to mention it enough, but we compost our microgreens flats. They eventually make their way back into the soil on the farm. So our plan this year, or this season, is to move most of this out. You know, even the stuff that hasn't composted long, it doesn't take these flats long to break down. So this season we are going to clear most of this out, get it into the ground, till it in, tarp that soil for a while. That'll be something that we're going to do in the early spring. So this will speed up, hopefully will speed up this kind of thawing out, because if it gets wet, if it snows or something, that top freezes really hard because it's so wet, and then the air, the blowing cold air, freezes it as well. So maybe this will keep some of the precipitation off and thaw it out faster so we can use it quicker. We've changed a few things around in the greenhouse recently, and this is sort of that idea of function defines your form. You know, this greenhouse has had many iterations since I started it, and I've changed things around just based on what I thought I needed versus what I actually needed, and that's what's happened here. We've completely taken out that bed now. There was a bit of garden bed left over here because I thought, oh, maybe I'll use it, but I wasn't. And I had all these, these are all my lemons. These are all my tropical plants that I just have for myself and my family garden. And once it's warm enough, we move these back outside. They go on our deck. But it's better just to have more floor space here. So we've basically taken out that bed. It was all compost. We actually were able to put some of that compost in big bins that we'll use for potting when we start doing more potting stuff. We're going to start some tomatoes and a bunch of stuff for our personal garden. And, you know, we've still got other things that we're going to do at the paper pot transplanter besides lettuce. So having some compost to use in the short term will be useful to us, though we don't need it immediately at this time. But Mark went and cleared this up really nicely so that we've just got more room for these pots. And tomorrow, probably tomorrow, we're going to change around more stuff in here. So this top shelf isn't really needed either. Well, we use it for putting stuff on it, but we're not using it for what it should be used for, which is growing. And so since we've made these tables wider, we cut out that middle shelf. We're going to bring this one down a little bit, and this one is sort of like recessed out to the back, which is great. So I'm going to bring it down a couple feet, and then it won't cast any shadow on this shelf, hopefully. We'll see. And then we'll have another shelf that we can use for growing stuff. In the meantime, we've got stuff down here that is just germinating. So this is a bunch of paper pot transplanter flats of Salanova. So that's our next succession. We've got our first succession going right now, or that's what's going to go get planted in the greenhouse in the beds that Mark was prepping. So besides that, there's not a ton going on the farm today. But what I'm doing next is I'm just gonna do a bunch of more microgreen trials. So I've got my computer open and a spreadsheet where I record all of my plantings. So I'm just gonna go and try a bunch of new plantings. I went out to the local hemp shop and went and bought myself like a drug dealer's scale. That's what I call it, a drug dealer's scale, because it's super accurate. It goes down to like 1% of a gram. And so I've been meaning to record some of the really small seed microgreens with a really accurate scale for a long time, because the ones we use for packing just aren't accurate enough. So I'm gonna use this one and replant a bunch of microgreen trials with more accurate seed measurements. This is also stuff that I'm doing for the Microgreens online course. So people have been asking about that, what's going on with that. We have like the bulk of it shot, and right now we're just editing in like B-roll, like you call it B-roll. It's just like other shots of things close up that I'm describing. And so we're still hoping that we're gonna have the beta version available this month, though it's already early March, so it's obviously not ready right now, but we should have the early beta version of it ready this month. So hopefully, you know, maybe that's mid-March or pushing to the end of March, but that's our goal. So we're just kind of cranking towards that. So that is what's happening on the farm today. Just gonna do a bunch of these microgreen trials, more microgreen trials. Mark is prepping beds in that hothouse next to this greenhouse, and he's gonna start prepping beds in the caterpillar tunnels as well. We've also got spinach available, so now we're starting to harvest our overwintered spinach. We have tons in the field, like there's at least 12 beds outside under poly low tunnels at one of our plots a block away, and also in the caterpillar tunnels here and at other plots. So field production is starting to increase. Demand on the microgreens is starting to increase, so we are full on into the spring season here, and from this point on, things just get busier and busier and busier. So that's what's happening today, guys. Hope you found that helpful. If you want to see more stuff like that, hit the subscribe button, like and share the videos with friends. Check out any of my upcoming courses in various places. Next 5-day workshop is actually going to be here in Kelowna, and you'll see those mentioned in the end of this video as well. Talk to you guys later.